yogis, welcome to my channel. My name is Brittany Timberlake, if we haven't yet met. If you enjoy these videos, please consider subscribing to my channel. Today's yin practice is going to focus physically on the upper body. Emotionally and energetically, we'll be opening and softening into our heart space or our heart center. In times of increased stress, I find that I have a tightening or a gripping in and around my heart and my chest. So if you feel like that too, hopefully this practice will be beneficial. For props, you might like to have 2 blocks. If you don't have those, you could use 2 pillows off your bed or your couch. And it'd be nice if you had a blanket. We are going to begin in a supported fish. We'll take our blocks to the end of our mat. And you could choose what height you would like. So the lowest height, you've got this kind of T shape. You could come to mid-height on one of them or both of them. And it might take a couple of tries as you come down onto your back, because you want that second block to hit the mid part of the back. So it's resting right in between your shoulder blades or your scapula. Letting your head come to rest comfortably. Again, taking your time to position the blocks or pillows. And just allowing your legs to lay out soft. And with your arms, you could let them just lay out into kind of a T shape. You might like them up and overhead. Just finding a shape that allows you to have an opening through the chest. Allowing the eyes to close as we start to turn our awareness inside. Noticing where your body makes contact with your supports. Noticing where your body makes contact with the earth beneath you. And right away, can you imagine that you could breathe into your heart space at the center of your chest? On the inhales, feeling the heart soften and open. And on the exhales, releasing tension or resistance. Moving very slowly, we'll start to transition up and out of this supported fish. You can take your elbows in so they're a little bit closer to you, palms on the earth, just to help you press up onto the elbows. And then leaning, coming to one hand and then the other, crossing your legs. And taking a few deep breaths in this seated position. Allowing the mind to drop down into the body. And opening your eyes if they're still closed. And we're going to come into a child's pose. So we'll take our blocks or props just to the front of our mat. And as we come into child's pose, you could have your knees close together or wide apart. And if your knees are sensitive, you could have a blanket underneath them. So option is to just have your arms reaching in front of you and then your head coming to rest onto a support or the earth. I'll also give the option to bring an opening into the upper body. So you could take your left hand and left arm and just reach it underneath the right. So you come to rest on your left shoulder, left side of the head. Feeling the opening through the left shoulder, left upper back, as the hips sink down towards the heels. Relaxing your face, relaxing your jaw. If you have your left arm underneath the right, just taking your time to switch. Right arm, right hand reaching underneath the left, coming down onto the left, the right shoulder, right side of the head. Take that right hand and extend it back out. Coming up onto all fours, just so we can then transition down onto our bellies. And we'll set up for Sphinx, taking our elbows underneath our shoulders. And you are welcome to stay here in Sphinx. Or if you would like to turn your hands out a little bit towards the corners, you could press your way up into seal. So one version is not better than the other. It's just if you decide to come up, we're sending the compression a little bit further up into the spine. Making sure you're relaxing through the glutes and the legs. And you could stay static, or if you want to invite some neck rolls, you could use this as an opportunity to get into the neck. And as always, these holds are just a suggestion. So if you need to come out a little bit sooner, or you want to stay a little bit longer, please listen to what your body is telling you. You are your own greatest teacher. And let's release from seal or Sphinx. Just coming down onto either stacked hands. You could rest your forehead on your hands, or you could take your arms and reach them behind you, just coming to rest on one cheek. This could be another nice opening for the side of the neck if you're turning your head in one direction. And then turning your head in the other direction. And then bringing your head back to center, we'll take our hands to the outsides of our ribs. And just press our way back up into table. Let's take a moment to just release any tension through the spine. Moving through a few cat-cow shapes. You let the belly drop, tailbone rises as you look up. Exhale, rounding, chin in towards the chest. Just moving through a few of these. And just coming back to a neutral table. We'll sink the hips back so we come down onto our seat. So we're going to set up for either melting heart or another variation of child's pose. And so it's always nice to have some extra support underneath your knees for this shape. So for melting heart, we want to keep our hips somewhere over our knees, and we reach our hands out towards the corners of the mat and just let the heart melt down towards the earth. And you can let your forehead come onto a block, or if it comes all the way down, that's fine. You could, in melting heart, bring the earth up a little bit more by taking your blocks and then bringing your elbows onto the blocks. And then letting, again, the heart come down. You can have your palms together in a prayer position, or your hands could even be reaching towards the back of your neck. So this will increase the sensation through your triceps, opening through the lats. If this is too much for your knees or your shoulders, you could sink back down into child's pose again. Bring your blocks with you. Take the same sort of arm variation. So play around with a few of those options. See which one feels the best in your body. for the next few breaths. Let's start to transition out of this shape. Just releasing the shape with the arms and then sinking the hips back into a child's pose. That one can feel really intense. So just breathe down through the spine, letting that go. When you're ready, we'll come up and we'll make our way onto our backs. You can just take your blanket and blocks and just place them off to the side so they're still within arm's reach in case you need them. And we'll bend our knees, bring the soles of the feet in towards the bum. We'll shift the weight of our hips just a little bit to the left. We're going to set up for Bananasana. So extending the legs out to the right. You can hook one ankle over the other. It's going to increase sensation through the left IT band, TFL. And then if it's comfortable for your arms, you could reach them up and overhead and to the right. If it's uncomfortable to have an arm just kind of floating in space, you could take your blanket and place it underneath the arm as a support. And as you settle in, finding your edge, let's send our breath down the entire left side of the body. releasing from banana, drawing the legs and the arms back to center, bending your knees. We'll just hug the knees in for a squeeze. Soles of the feet come down onto the earth, and we'll shift the hips a little bit to the right, extending your legs out to the left. You could cross your ankles, continuing to keep your hips and your shoulders rooted. Arms can come up overhead and to the left. Sending the breath up and down the entire right side of the body. Taking your time to release. Arms, legs come back to center. You can hug the knees in. Give the legs a squeeze. And we'll bring the soles of the feet back down onto the earth as we set up for twisted roots. Shifting the weight of the hips to the right and letting Stacked knees fall to the left, or you could take your top right leg and wrap it around the bottom. Always an option to have a block underneath or between the legs. And your arms could be out into a T shape or a cactus shape. Allowing your head to fall in any comfortable direction. Reconnecting with your breath. And observing where your mind goes when you become quiet and still. On your next exhale, using your core to help draw the legs back through center. And you could pause in center to hug your legs in again, or you might want to just roll on over to the other side, taking twisted roots or any other variation of a twist. Giving yourself permission to slow down, permission to be here fully, investing in your own well-being. Yeah, let's release from the twist on this side. Making any final movements that would feel right in your body right now before we move into our final resting corpse pose. And as we close our practice, I'd like to give you the option where, of course, you're welcome just to come to lay out flat on the earth in corpse, reaching for any blankets for extra warmth. Or you might like to join me in a comfortable seated position. So whether you are laying down or sitting up, we'll take our hands and just rest them in the center of our chest, just over the heart, closing down the eyes. And we'll take a few deep breaths together so you feel that rise of the hands on the breath in and the lowering of the hands on the breath out. each breath in, gently opening, softening the heart space. With each breath out, releasing tension and resistance around the walls of the heart. So the more we practice opening and softening the heart space, the more we can be receptive to compassion and joy, even in difficult times. Releasing your hands from your heart if you like. We'll just spend some time here together quietly. We'll bring our hands together at our heart in prayer. Thank you so much for joining me for your yin practice. From my heart to yours, namaste.